We're already live. Did you just stop it? He just took the thing off.
Uh-oh.
I saw it go live. We might be live right now. I don't know. We are live.
Oh, we are live. Hello,
Great.
beloveds.
The whole screen just went black, y'all. So
Give us a few
cool.
minutes. We're getting it worked out, but
We're still live. So
we
just-
are. So, hello,
just starting on.
beloveds. We've got a great show today. Here, I'm here, Cynthia Borsalino, with my daughter, Leanna.
Leanna Borsalino.
Glad you're here, and we get to kind of share a little bit about. We've got some good news to share, and
there's also some technical difficulties going
on right now.
So.
Apologize. We're getting there.
Okay, well, let's just start with the show. I don't know.
Okay.
Are you going to let us know when the time's out? Dave? Okay, just motion at us when the time's up so we know when to stop. Because otherwise we're not going to know. And, okay.
We're good. Let's just go. Well, hope everyone is having a wonderful summer. This time that we just got back, from a really wonderful trip in Mexico. Very relaxing. I was actually working on my book as well, and able to get more done on the outline. So I'm kind of excited about that. I felt relaxed and, listening to the ocean, just, the waves of the ocean. It was kind of rough out there for a few days where the storms were rolling in and out. So kind of like our lives, where we have storms that come in and then it kind of settles, kind of what I've been looking at. But anyway, I wanted to talk today about our documentary, Another Child, and it's kind of been on hold for quite a few months, probably since February, I think, of this year, right? Is that when it happened? When it went off?
Sometime earlier this year, because it was still up by the end of last year. But I think that there was an event that you went to when you told everybody to go watch it, and wherever, that's when we became aware of it. So when was that event?
I think it was in February.
That was in February?
Yeah,
okay.
That was in February. And that's when we realized that everything was down, and we had called the distribution company, and there was a split in the company, and they had to renegotiate all of the contracts and everything because of that. And so it's been off. Like, you couldn't go to Amazon Prime or iTunes or wherever. There's so many different Vudu, all that stuff. But it is officially back up.
5 months later.
Yeah. So glad, because I had spoken at a few other events since then. And nobody had it. Like, I want to watch it.
The only reason we knew is because somebody randomly watched it and reached out to us to let us know how much the story touched them. So, and if they hadn't reached out, then we still probably wouldn't even know.
Right. Yeah. It was kind of wild. Like, how did you watch it? Yeah. Anyway. But we're grateful for that, so we can move forward again. I'm working on our website to get things up and running with that again, so we have all the links. During that time, I actually purchased a whole bunch of DVDs because people were asking to watch it, and so you could still buy the DVDs.
You were distributing the DVDs.
Yes, I was doing that. So anyway, but I thought we'd talk about, where did Diadem come from, and how did we back in the day, even of it started off when we were working with a nonprofit that I had started called Rosebuds, but the Diadem Production Company, because you had a vision of Diadem, not the logo, but I'm talking about the whole vision beforehand. You thought Diadem would be great when you were younger.
Well, you were always really big on word studies when I was younger. You still are, but I remember specifically when I was a child, because I was homeschooled for 5 years, you had me do a lot of word studies and deep dive into the meanings of words. And there's that one worship song at church that was like, "Bring forth the royal diadem." And I was like, "Who was that?" So and then I wanted to know more about it. So I did a deep dive word study, through that, and discovered the meaning of diadem. And I just fell in love with the word, I think, really is what happened. Because I just wanted to put it on everything. And then you guys made the production company, Diadem, or is it an incorporation? I think, really.
Diadem Productions Incorporated. Yeah. That's us.
So, and that's
still running.
That's where it really birthed, but there was no logo at the time. It was just birthed from doing deep dive word studies, which, if you want to go more into that.
Yeah, I think Amy did a little crown logo.
Yes, she did.
Created one to start with. And, I wanted to share, because it was in, when I kind of working through things, but in Isaiah 62:3, it says, "The crown of glory and splendor in the hand of the Lord is a royal diadem, exceedingly beautiful in the hand of your God." And what the revelation that God gave me about what is the royal diadem, it's us.
So, and that's kind of where my vision came from, is when I thought of the word diadem, for whatever reason, I saw this crown that was made of like living water, like flowing water. So this crown that's made out of water, but there are people's bodies weaved into it. And
It's so beautiful.
and so I saw basically humans making up this diadem, but it was beautiful, like this almost like crystal color of, you know, these blues and radiance, like, you know, like diamonds and all the things. So that's in my mind what I would think of when I would think of this diadem. Like that's where my mind would take me.
So yeah, that's so interesting you say, because I haven't share that, but my thought of it when I remember seeing and hearing that song, that it was when we lay down our crowns before the Lord, it was the souls that we have touched, that we have encountered and led to the Lord. You know, like who have we touched? Who have we led to Jesus? Where have we been the representation of Jesus to others' lives that have helped transform them to know him more?
Sure.
And it was like, they're our crown. And then you say like living water, because what are we made of?
Right.
Water.
Yeah. So,
majority of
you
us.
know, but what you're saying makes sense too, because that's kind of where the lyrics lead you. So yeah, that's pretty funny. So, but anyway, so the logo, one night I was,
What we have now.
the logo that we have now,
currently,
which is also tattooed on my back.
Yeah.
It came from a late night where I couldn't sleep. And you always tell me, you know, like when you can't sleep, you know, maybe God's trying to speak to you, or that's the Holy Spirit. And so I would typically take out my journal at night and I would write. And sometimes I wouldn't know what I'd write. Some, you know, that's how some of my poetry was birthed, so on and so forth.
I remember you.
Well, this one night, you know, I'm not an artist per se.
Yes, you are.
Well, I can draw, but I don't have any training in it. And so I was just started scribbling, and I didn't even know really what I was scribbling. Like I didn't know when I started scribbling that I was drawing a crown. Like I honestly didn't know what I was doing. And so I'm just scribbling with it. And then I started seeing these women's bodies, and they were reaching up, you know, into this, making this formation of what looked like a crown. And then I realized in the center, it was a tree, like a living tree. And so, and then I thought to myself, oh, because what I started thinking of was the orange grove that you would go sneak into when you were living in Florida.
Yeah.
So
and to get a little bit of extra
back when
money.
you were in the brothel in Florida, you used to sneak out because they weren't feeding you, and you would go into the orange grove and you get really sick from only eating oranges. And so that was what was in my mind all of a sudden. So I'm seeing this tree and I'm seeing these women's bodies reaching into the tree for nourishment. And then at the top, I was like, this is, you know, a cry for help. So I put in these praying hands, but then I realized what I was really drawing was a rosebud, which was birthed from the ministry Rosebuds. And so that's kind of like how the whole image just kind of came together.
It's so beautiful. Yeah, I love it. And it was like, you know, seeing that, it was like, you know, showing women, it looked like they were dancing and being a little bit free, you know, like they were free actually. But looking at that, it was like, that's the crown of glory, is God. Why Jesus came was for all of us to know him, and, you know, not to be held in bondage, or our identities, you know, restored and, you know, brought to us in a way that the way he sees us, not the way the world sees us or what has happened to us, the way we see ourselves, right? Because of through the eyes and the lens of darkness and the lens of abuse, right? So anyway, it was so beautiful. And so that I wanted to bring that up to the point of like where, you know, you know, it's such a great message. And I've realized the more I've talked to people who've watched our documentary, and, you know, it's been a long battle, a hard battle, like the whole thing of getting it out there, and the years that it took to make the film, the documentary. Were there times that you felt like discouraged, or like this isn't going to happen? Or
I don't know if I ever thought it wasn't going to happen. I was pretty determined it was going to happen eventually. Like, I think there was a point where it was not necessarily an obsession, but it was like, we're committed to getting this done, however it needs to get done. It didn't happen on the timeline I wanted it to. But then again, nothing ever does. So
yeah,
like starting to let go of that type of control.
Kind of looking at, okay, God, it's your time.
Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite scriptures too was in Isaiah about, and also in Revelation, where he's the one that opens the doors that no man can open, and he closes the doors that no man can, women. He opens the door that no man can close, and he closes the doors that no man can open. And, that's something that I began to rely on the Lord, to trust him in everything, the movements and things happening in our lives, of what we can trust. We can trust him in every aspect of our life if we're
Yeah.
surrendered to him, if we're seeking his will and wanting to grow in our ability to become more like him. Like, that's when we can really trust. And that's when, so I would say that if something was closed on me, then I said, Lord, I would repeat that scripture and said, I'm trusting you through this, because you're the one that opens the doors. You're the one that closes the doors, and no man can stop it. Right. Because we're seeking your will, and we're wanting to live according to your will. And so that this has been a hard process, and there's things I've cried out. I've gone in my prayer closet and cried out to the Lord and said, felt that's what you wanted us to do. And the attacks have been hard against us. I mean, we've had major attacks, but through it, it's hopefully, like, I think God's plan is to bring us closer to him, to rely more upon him. And in the process, to see that no weapon formed against us will ever prosper.
Right.
And it's like, we've had a lot of things against us, but God has made a way. And now here we are, because I thought this season of where, oh my gosh, we did this documentary, it was touching people's lives. I was getting, calls, we were going to speak, and then to share God's redemption. It's his God's redemption story. It's his story.
Mm-hmm.
And it's our lives, all of us, that are interwoven in the way of love and forgiveness and transformation, deliverance and healing and all that. And it's still a process, and we're still in process. And through everything we've been through with that, it's still part of the process. And just I think, growing and learning more in trusting him to work everything out, and what the most important thing is, relationships, the diadem, right?
Right.
That's
which, by the way, we're not too thrilled with our distribution company. So if there's anybody out there that is part of one, want to reach out to us, we are open to switching distribution companies.
Right. Yeah.
So we are out there on most of the major platforms, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel that our distribution company has underperformed.
Yep. And they have not communicated at all with us.
So, I mean, they're obviously going
Yeah.
through their own thing since everything got shut down for 6 months. So whatever, but that is kind of I would say, a red flag for us to be like, maybe we should go find somebody else.
Yeah.
So,
and the main thing is they didn't communicate with us. And then when there was talking, they were kind of very,
that doesn't matter.
Not kind, but anyway, but and that way is like, yes. So we're kind of looking for that, but and our lawyers has encouraged us to do so. So,
right.
Yeah. Anyway, so through that, I just want to encourage those who are out there that if you're in the midst of something that you feel like God has led you to, the timing is not always what we think it looks like, or what we want it to be. And hang on, trust the Lord. He's going to work you through it. And God is faithful. He's so faithful. And there's a lot of things behind the scenes that we don't see or understand, like everything that we've gone through with the whole documentary. And like I said, the people that, have seen it and it's touched, people have reached out to me and say that it's helped them to process through their own abuse or childhood shame issues, whatever it is. It's like, and the way that they see their family, they're like wanting more healing for their family. So I'm praying that this will be an opportunity. If you haven't seen it, please go to Amazon Prime or iTunes, whatever, Another Child, and watch it with somebody. Don't do it alone. And if you want to reach out to me, please reach out to me at belovedunveiled@protonmail.com. Thanks for listening.